What's going on, folks? What's going on? It is another day of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Got myself, yours truly, Mr. Just As Joe, and I have a guest host coming up today, Brother Pierre Lawson. Y'all have seen him many a times on the show. Brother John Yah is out this morning taking care of some things, and we have Brother Pierre Lawson who is with us as a guest host today. Brother Pierre, how you doing, family?
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing on a Saturday? Beautiful morning.
All right. It is a beautiful morning. From the Ville to the Liners. It's a beautiful morning. We got good weather, so it's all good this morning. So how was your week, man?
It's been a very busy week. Weather on the other side isn't so beautiful. It's a little rainy here today, but it's a busy week in the markets, I would say. So I've been pretty busy dealing with the market. So yeah.
I think with this conversation, we'll probably get into some of that in talking about the markets and everything, you know. So the whole premise of today's conversation, folks, is going to be about why are the 99% so concerned with what the 1% do? You know, we're gonna have that conversation. But first, let's go ahead and get the show started. You ready to start, bro?
Let's get it rocking, man.
All right, let's go.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yah. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.
I don't even know what's going on. Oh my god. Are you guys kidding me?
All right, man. First up today. First, I want to say thank you for filling in for my brother, Brother John Yah. You know, we thought about this conversation and we thought about who could bring light to this conversation. You would have been an invited guest nonetheless, just the same. With him having some things to take care of this morning, then we appreciate you stepping in, brother, because that was the next thought was, hey, can we get him to step in? Because he would help in bringing light to this conversation. So I mean, appreciate
you can't really substitute Brother John Yah. You know, that guy's
you can't.
He's the elite. So, you know, I'm honored to just, you know, serve in the shadow here. But, you know, shout out to Brother John Yah. You know, he was busy today. And I'm glad that you guys, you know, thought about having me on today. So we'll try to make it interesting here and, you know, hopefully everybody love what they hear today.
Absolutely. And as it gets played over and over and over, folks, I hope you take something from today. First up to the stage, we've got this brother. You know, I feel like I need to play some type of music for this brother to bring him to this stage. Let's see what we can figure out. Hey, this brother right here, this is BitcoinCampus.org, the original, the creator, the man himself who has extended his arms and hugged a multitude of people to gather them and give them multiple amounts of information. It is none other than Mr. Crypto Kenny himself. Family, thank you. Welcome to the stage.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you for your introductions. You know, if I had to just rely on getting my day started with your introductions, that would be all I needed to have a great day. It always gets me going on Saturdays, so definitely appreciate that.
You've hyped my introductions up so much that I have to live up to the hype. So,
well, yeah, you do an amazing job, and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the show with you guys this morning. You guys have an amazing topic. It's something that, you know, I'm sure runs through someone's mind every single day, you know, about the people that we look up to and celebrities and, people that are famous and so on and so forth. And, we get so infatuated with what they have going on. A majority of, us lose sight of what we have going on. We get drowned in that. And, there are millionaires made every single day in this world. So, all it takes is one day to change your life, one idea to change your life, working on your craft to a point where you become a master at it. And then you can see an exponential growth period in that as well. And success and money is all subjective. There are people that live on islands that have access to all of the things that we pay thousands of dollars for just to go there for a weekend. They live there, and they would risk their life coming to do what we got going on. So it's really just the mindset that people have when it comes to what is success, what is happiness. I think happiness is the most important thing. But, I always love hearing your topics, and I always want to try and just give a little bit of my opinion on that, before I segue into crypto. Obviously, crypto has been doing a little bit better this past maybe week or so. It looks like Bitcoin and Ethereum is getting pushed back up slightly. We have Ethereum that went over 1,600, and Bitcoin is looking like it's going to push 21,000 possibly. But you never know with these things. So whenever you're looking at the markets, it's always important that you understand that you're building something for the future. You have to be disciplined to create your own savings plan. A lot of people, they will work a job, and their job will tell them, okay, we're doing this, we're putting this percentage away to Fidelity or to whatever the case may be. And I think that if the average person did that same percentage and studied what's necessary to do that on their own, if they had that same consistent amount of money coming in, they'd be able to do 2, 3, 10x what one of those venture capitalist companies or those types of programs for 401k packages. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You went there, you said venture capitalist companies. So the first thing that pops in my head is BlackRock. How much stability to the crypto market did BlackRock opening its doors to crypto? How much stability did that bring to the market? Did that make people say, okay, it's not, those who may have been hesitant and on the line or maybe not as informed, did BlackRock coming in to the market, did that make them say, okay, this is real, for reals, longevity?
That's a great question. I think what BlackRock did, and what, if you follow the news, and, we have people in the group like Brandon Ivy, who's one of the consultants that I work with, who does an incredible job with this Ivy League
in
Crypto
the
Academy.
Bitcoin Campus org group that he's talking about, folks.
Yeah, he also helps us with a lot of our educational, matters. But the reason I bring that up is because what BlackRock being more open to crypto, what it does is just further solidifies the fact that crypto is going to be here for the future. I mean, if you're looking at an investment, right, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, am I going to make money on this, or, is this going to work? The first thing you'd have to understand is this company going to be here for the long term? Or is this product or is this service, is it going to be here for years and years and years to come? So if you think about the learning curve, or the curve of acceptance, the tipping point, whatever the case may be, right, in terms of cryptocurrency, all of these new companies and, other people investing into the metaverse, spending billions of dollars in software development and positioning themselves, that just has to tell you that, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see some sort of adoption, right? That's all that basically tells you. So from an investment standpoint, it's very difficult to, understand that people with money, they have so much money, they're able to take shortcuts. They're able to pay people to evaluate things. They have staffs for certain things. The average person doesn't have that. So, and the world is not set up for just everybody to win. So everybody knows crypto is something that people can become millionaires with now. And you see like teenagers and all different people around the world becoming millionaires through cryptocurrency. The markets itself are being manipulated. There's a lot of manipulation that happens with the price of the cryptocurrencies that are out there, the tokens. If I have the ability to take out $50 million, of Bitcoin in a day, I can move the market myself, just like how Elon Musk can put out, some information and tilt it that way. So, with knowing all of these things, the reason why Bitcoin Campus is important is because of the fact that it'll teach you how to educate yourself to generate a portfolio and sideways, meaning that whether the market is up or down, you find a way to expand yourself and position yourself for growth when the next bull market comes, which, nobody really knows, but we experienced one in 2021. So we've seen the market go from 20,000 to 70,000, right? So
Right.
If it happened once, it's going to happen again. The question is, when it does happen again, are you in position? Do you have anything that you put aside? Are you learning any other skill sets that allow you to maximize that
piece right
that
there,
growth?
that piece right there, the learning piece. Let me ask you this real quick.
Well,
What
hold
can
on,
people
brother Joe. Before you go on there, I do want to add some color to the conversation on that matter.
Sure.
I work in the capital market, so I work with guys like the Black Rocks. We work with hedge funds, asset managers, and things like that. And so, the reason why Wall Street, if you will, Wall Street has different programs, if you will. They have different objectives than an individual would have. And so, the reason why you would see the adoption of fund managers with cryptocurrency is for a different objective than regular individuals. So with fund managers, they're managing other people's money, and it is their duty, it is their job to return a yield. And so that's what they are. They're yield munchers is what I call them. Yield munchers, like Pac-Man eating little dots. Well, that's what fund managers, their job is to get yield. And there's different asset classes, and all asset classes compete with each other. You have equities, you got forex, you got your debt, fixed income, you got your real estate. And then with crypto being the baby coming to the game, it represents a new opportunity. So Wall Street is all about, opportunists. So then you see, the guys like the Kevin O'Leary's and these guys that are really, pumping up, the crypto space. A lot of marketing dollars involved, a lot of people pumping it up. Now, one of those reasons is because with the fixed income market, with bonds, a lot of funds, they can't actually just go 100% equities, 100% stocks. We had a nice 11-year bull run before the Rona attack. So it was a lot of good money to be made in equities, but they can't go 100% equities. A lot of the fund managers had to diversify the portfolios. And so normally you'll get a split between bonds and you'll get a split between stocks. Now, with the Federal Reserve, with the government's intervention into the economy, artificially suppressing interest rates at 0%, and inflation rising above that, yields on bonds became negative. And so that means that you're paying, and that's not the name of the game. You're supposed to receive that interest. So bonds became very unattractive. And so when you have something like crypto, which is higher risk, but you see, these funds, they allocate a very, very small portion of crypto because it's really risky. You can't take on too much risk when you're managing other people's money. But that opportunity with, the interest rates, the yields on bonds being suppressed so low for so long, the fund managers decided to take on a little more risk to acquire the yield that you get from, the crypto, or the appreciation that you got in crypto. And it paid off for a lot of people. So I just wanted to add that much into it. The way that fund managers are managing risk, it's different from individuals. These guys are managing, pensions and, all kind of monies, so it's a little different. But yeah, just wanted to add that color.
Man, appreciate that. Because, again, BlackRock is like, I want to say 10 billion in investments, I think, or
more
10
than
trillion. It might.
Yeah,
it's 10 trillion.
You got to understand, like the government can't operate in the markets, but BlackRock can. And BlackRock is there when the government put that money, create that new money. BlackRock is going to facilitate the liquidity. So in markets, you need liquidity. So capital has to flow. Meaning money needs to be lent You know, things need to be bought, and so BlackRock is very instrumental in really facilitating the will of the government.
Really?
Yeah, along with Goldman Sachs and all the big banks, you know, like, yeah, but BlackRock is definitely very instrumental in keeping this thing flowing.
Okay. So with that in mind, then, you know, one of the pieces you brought up, Kenny, real quick, I want to move on to our next segment, but bringing education when it comes to crypto. We have bitcoincampus.org, and that has a plethora of avenues from Telegram to others where people can educate themselves and be a part of this. And I mean, I've never seen something so inexpensive at like $25 a month for a person to get involved. And even going through the tippingpointshow.com, then a person can get involved for even less than that $25 a month. But with that in mind, that education piece, what can a person expect real quick to come into the Bitcoin campus and the type of education that they get throughout the week? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, thank you. It's a resource center, and it just points you into different avenues that you're looking to go in. You know, there's so many different ways of making money in crypto that people are unaware of. You know, there's mining, there's staking, there's trading, there's farming, there are nodes, there's marketing. You know, so being that there's so many different avenues, it's important to have that awareness and then have the ability to go in a direction that you would like to learn. You know, many people doing that on their own will have tremendous amounts of difficulty. So, you know, having a resource center that's available that everybody could leverage from, you know, meeting all different types of people. I mean, you've met some of the guys in Bitcoin Campus. You know, if I really wanted to go into some specific directions that they specialize in, just that having access to those types of people that have experienced those things can be a huge benefit in my learning curve, right? So, and I'm just saying that, you know, just speaking in terms of anybody just looking at getting information, you know, so I would suggest, you know, joining the Facebook group, bitcoincampus.org. You'll be able to see some of the things that we speak about. Obviously, if you go through the Tipping Point Morning Show, you're going to get you're going to get a discount that's close to like 50% off, you know, in terms of just being a part of that. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. We also share opportunities, you know, where you can actually earn crypto and, you know, develop more within your portfolio where it comes to passive, residual, and, you know, developing interest in that manner. But yeah, that's, you know, I think in a nutshell, in terms of everything that it can provide, I think we've shared that. We've gone through.
Absolutely. Man, always a pleasure having you on, bringing some of that crypto information, bringing these thoughts to mind, allowing us to expand our minds and think of different opportunities when it comes to investing. Remember, folks, again, the tippingpointshow.com, you can click on partners and you click this Bitcoin Campus link right here. And guess what? You can sign up and become a part of that community. And I'm telling you, I myself have accidentally made money. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting here thinking that I'm going to go and purposely make some more money with you guys and do what I did accidentally before to do that. So appreciate you, brother Crypto Kenny. See you next week.
Appreciate you as well. Yeah, see you guys again. Have a great week, everybody.
Oh, and I want one of those shirts too. So tell me how I can get one. Me and John need one of those shirts. Exactly. I like the logo and everything. That Bitcoin Campus logo right there. I need one. All right. So let's think about that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna work on that. We're definitely gonna work on that for you for sure. I got you. All right, bro. Peace.
Have a good one.
All right, folks. Beautiful information to gain knowledge is always beautiful. Next up to the stage, we're gonna bring up my man. This guy right here is just so cool, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody can get any cooler. welcome Brother Leonard with the Stock Spotlight. Family, how you doing this morning?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Glad to be here. Good Carolina morning. It's raining down there in Charlotte where you at, Pierre, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit. I got the sun peeking out up here in Greensboro, so we're in some good shape up here. It's homecoming weekend for our HBCU, North Carolina A&T Aggie Pride, for all of those that know what I'm talking about here. So we got lots and lots going on Halloween weekend, plus with a homecoming weekend, plus I got stuff going on myself with contractors and different things going on, and going on vacation again next week. So,
Hey, I swear, Brother Leonard stay on vacation. Like every other week, he's on vacation. You got to ask this man where's his GPS coordinates? Where you located at when you call him? You know?
hey.
Yeah, but both of y'all, brother, this must be a Carolinas thing because, even Pierre, he's like competing with Leonard on vacations where he's like, all right, I'm going to make up Leonard's 5 vacations by taking this one giant vacation over here and I'm going to go learn a new language. You know what I mean?
I can't compete, man. Leonard, he's on a new island every other week,
Leonard is always on vacation. But see, that's why we got this brother here, because Leonard represents the ability to retire in your 50s, yet have investments as a part of your portfolio, research and application, because he represents the ability to do this. And that's why we love having him on, because he's sharing that information. And especially for anybody who is in their 20s, please, the stuff that we give here on the financial tip, you need to really apply it, because even if you just sat there, if you just took $100 a month in your 20s and continue to invest in proper stocks, especially dividends, I'm telling you, you can see some beautiful things later in your life and be able to take 5 vacations every month like Brother Leonard. So the Stock Spotlight is yours, brother.
All righty. The stock that I'm looking at for this week, you guys know them, you've heard of them, and if you haven't heard of them, then I don't know where you've been. And that's going to be Comcast Corporation. Comcast Corporation. Their ticker symbol is CMCSA. That is Charlie, Mike, Charlie, Sierra Alpha. Got 5 letters there. Charlie, Mike, Charlie, Sierra Alpha. And they trade on the NASDAQ. Right now they're going for, like I always do, I try to find some stuff that's paying a dividend for under $50 per share. This is going for $31.95. This is what it closed on Friday. It pays a annual dividend of $1.08 with a quarterly dividend of 27 cents. It also has a 3.38% yield. That number will change as the stock changes. 52-week high was $54.74. The 52-week low is $28.39. So it's still hovering around that low. So you can still get this stock at a discount. Why is Comcast so important? Well, Comcast is really 3 companies in one. Okay, you've got Comcast Cable, you got NBC Universal, and you got Sky out of the UK. That's all part of Comcast. A lot of people say, well, everybody's cutting cable, so shouldn't that hurt the cable industry? Comcast does have streaming as well. Comcast owns Xfinity, they own NBC, USA, Sci-Fi Channel, Telemundo, they own Peacock Streaming, Universal Theme Parks. Comcast, matter of fact, that's where I'm going on vacation is Orlando. Universal Theme Parks, Orlando, and the one in Hollywood, the one in Osaka, Japan, and the one in Beijing, China. All right, they own Sky News and Sky Sports. They actually own a sports team, the Philadelphia Flyers, and they own the Wells Fargo Center Arena where the Flyers play. So Comcast owning Comcast is like having an ETF in a way, because they're involved in a whole bunch of things and they got lots of streams of revenue coming in. So And like I said, at $31, a share right now, and it's not going to do anything but get better. Like I said, this market did a little bit better last week, just like Brother Pierre was saying. It's been busy. It's kind of had some ups and downs. If you got oil, you're real happy right now. So like I said, it's been doing pretty. It's kind of we still got ways to go. They're still predicting this recession to come. So we'll see. But the thing is about it is things that go up go down, and things that go down go up. So if you stay steady and you know what to do in down markets and take advantage, like Brother Kenny said, millionaires are made every day. These are the times when you can set yourself up nice for later in life, or to get you some, if you want to you got a little bit of money to the side, you want to try to figure out what you want to do to it. This is the time where you can get you some passive income and investing in some stocks to pay you some dividends. So,
yeah, Brother Leonard, it was a good week in equities this week, right? What people, I guess a good tip for your followers here is to keep an eye on the dollar. As I mentioned earlier, asset classes compete with each other. And there's a dollar equities parity there where, when the dollar is strong and is going up, equities go down. And so when the dollar goes down, equities go up. You just seeing money flowing from one asset class to the next asset class. So we had a peak in the dollar. The dollar established its ceiling for us. So when you take a look at $DXY, you can take a look at that. That's the dollar. We can track it. You'll see that it hit a ceiling there. So we have an established ceiling in the market. So you guys can mark that. So whenever it tries to retest that again, you'll know, where you can short at. And then so equities were able to get a nice jump, and even crypto kind of trying to make a little comeback here. But if you see dollar get strong, keep an eye out on the VIX and things of that nature. You may want to consider some short positions. Yeah.
Right. Outstanding.
Awesome. So that's we got our stock spotlight tip of the week, and I was looking up some things as we all were talking here, and from WSFSbank.com. All right. I really don't know who they are, but it looks like an online mobile bank. Investing in a down market. 5 things to do during volatility. Number 1, stay invested. The adage buy low, sell high is easier said than done. Number 2, keep investing. Number 3, rebalance your portfolio. Number 4, take some tax losses. And number 5, be a bit more cautious if you plan to retire soon. What do you guys think about those 5 tips?
I think, that sounds pretty sound. Like I said, especially in a down market, keep investing, right? Because that's when you can buy, like I said, is those red days, especially if you're a dividend investor. Red days means that, I'm getting ready to buy some stuff for cheap now. All right, I'm gonna get some stuff that maybe
it's a sale.
Yes, it's a sale. I'm getting stuff on sale, on discount. So when this all rebounds, not only will I have growth, but my dividends, another thing about Comcast, I forgot to say, Comcast also has had a paying streak since 2008, and they've increased their dividends since 2008. That's another thing we got to look at too, is companies that increase their dividend and have a good rate. So that's what makes them a good company, even though, a lot of people say, well, that yield is kind of low, but they continuously, like I said, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You're trying to get stuff, that's paying you on a consistent, steady basis, right? That can be reliable. So, but like back to the comments, but definitely in a down market. See, this is where we miss opportunity as we get. Hey, what did we say earlier? What did we say earlier when I first started doing this? Where there's fear, be greedy. Where there's greed, be fearful. Right now, there's a lot of fear, so you might want to think about being a little bit greedy and say, hey, let me look and see some stuff with some good history here that I could buy for cheap. It's going to rebound and put some knots in my pocket. So,
absolutely, absolutely. So, real quick before you go, just one question on today's topic: Why does the 99% care so much about what the 1% are doing? What's your thoughts on that? You know, I mean, of course, we all know, and we'll get into the conversation later, that the whole Kanye thing is part of that conversation and more of what stirred up this conversation. But you know, versus becoming wealthy themselves. Quick answer, go.
Vicarious worship. People like to worship who they want to be, or who they think they might want to be, or the life that they want to live vicariously. So, like I said, if they look at these people and say, "Oh man, I could live," you know, I'm gonna live through this person's life, you know, and that's what people like to do, that because, you know, like I said, is when you can't figure out how to get out of your condition, or you say, "Oh, that's gonna take too much work. I'll just live, you know, through this person's life, or through this person's eyes, or through the world, through that person's lens," then, hey, you know, I can live vicariously, and that's the term that I like to call vicarious worship. So,
absolutely. Hey, brother, appreciate you for stepping up this morning once again. Always bringing great information. Always great to see you. And until next time, peace.
Peace.
Hey, man, I want to give a quick shout out to Esoteric Podcast with John Yah. Always tuning in. Even when he's here, he's tuning in, and he's connecting all our minds, even when he's here and when he's not here. It's all good, folks. Antonio Brown, shout out to you, brother. Frank Stoner, shout out to you, brother. Adolph Tompkins, he says, why does it say that 99% care about the 1%? We don't. We just make comments and just our opinions. We really don't have a dog in that fight, but we do have an opinion. All right?
Yeah,
good stuff
fair.
there.
That's
Good
fair.
stuff there. That is fair. And I love what Brother Leonard said and about living vicariously through them. Next up to the stage, folks, we are going to bring our sister from another mother, A. And I'm going to give her some more. Let's see. What music can we bring to the table for her? Because she is always stepping up with these 5 minutes in financing tips. And she doesn't stop there. If you want to follow her, just look her name up when she pops up on the stage, because she's always, every day, every other day, she's got Facebook groups, other social media groups where she brings people together, business owners, thinkers, creatives, and she spits stuff out there. And I'm telling you, folks, information is valuable. So, up to the stage, we've got Lady Brazilianaire, entrepreneur extraordinaire, Heather Weatherspoon. What's going on?
Good morning, Kings. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you, man.
Fantastic.
Good. So my tip for, of course, you know, I had to do Jeffrey Dahmer. Anyways, so my tip for today for you all and for everybody who's watching and listening is teach your children how to balance a checkbook. A lot of the children who were born in the late 90s and all of the 2000s don't even know what a checkbook consists of, let alone how to balance it. So while if you're in this down period or whatever we're going through, or pandemic, recession, or whatever we're going through, however, take some time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, what have you, and teach your children how to balance a checkbook. They could be 8, 9, 10 years old, preferably those who are of working age, middle school, high school. We all know some people like to hire kids at 15 years old, some at 14, depending on who they are. So teach your children how to balance a checkbook. If they don't learn it now, when they do get our age and older, they're not going to know how to record or look at their money, let alone how much money they made. Remember the movie Ray, he knew what a certain bill was by the sound that it made because he was blind. But now it's very important to teach your children how to do that so they'll never get messed over with their money. And that's very important. Hope that worked out.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sis. Appreciate you. Great information, and I tell you what, it's interesting because I feel like in a lot of cases, there's lots of adults out there that either don't know or have forgotten how to balance.
We can't save them, but how do you get these kids off the Cash App?
Exactly.
Like a checkbook. We want Cash App. Send me some Cash App.
Exactly. And Brother Leonard, he says children nowadays can't count cash either. Not like we did back in the day.
They got Cash App. Everything is going digital now, so you know how it was like back in the day where you used to remember people's phone numbers, right? Like I used to remember my auntie's phone number, my grandmother's phone number by heart, and now that we have we're getting so smart, we're getting dumb, like I don't remember anybody's number. I got to remember my wife's phone number. I don't remember. I'm like, jeez. Because we let the devices hold it. So same thing with like money. These kids, they're not holding on to the cash. They're in the digital space. They got the credit cards, debit cards, and Cash App.
Exactly. And
they don't have to have cash to count.
Exactly. No, you're right. And here in America, the American education system is getting exactly what it pays for. Which we're at the bottom of the list among every other country. We're at the bottom of the list in math and science. Among every other organized country.
Well, Brother Joe, that's the reason why I advocate homeschool. If you had the capacity to homeschool, like your children would listen, the value is so great. I just left the economics club meeting last week with some homeschool guys who actually pioneered the whole, industry to combat the government. Myself and my wife, we homeschool as well. And, our baby is, she's out of here. She's good, So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, folks, we're going to go to commercial, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this conversation. All right, we're going to have this conversation about the 1% and the 99%. Okay, so we're going to talk about that right here when we come back. And I tell you what, don't go anywhere. All right. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. We just got to do commercials and pay a couple bills. So just, like I said, don't go anywhere. All right. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, folks. It's the Tipping Point Morning Show.
Hey folks, check out HealthDaddyWow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, HealthDaddyWow.net. Remember, HealthDaddyWow.net.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap, sticks, and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, or find yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Trading Company, where you can find fragrances to incite your senses.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Young. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.
tell you what, folks, we're back right here. It is, again, October 29th, 2022. It's the Tipping Point Show. It is yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe, as well as my other brother from another mother, Brother Pierre. And we're going to leave it at that because that's what he put on his placket there. Pierre.
Yeah, we just want to just leave it as Pierre, no titles or nothing. You know, it's just a fallacy called the appeal to authority fallacy. It's a fallacy that people like give extra, credit to people who hold titles and things like that. And so when I just put just Pierre, that means that I'm coming to you as equals and not to flash any titles, because I know people get enamored with titles and things like that. But it's irrelevant. You either can talk your point or you can't talk your point. We don't care about your PhDs, your master's degrees, or whatever titles you hold, CEO, CFO. Either you know what you're talking about or you don't know what you're talking about. So let's come as equals. There's a movie called Beowulf back in the day, and Beowulf, he says, the beast fights without armor, so therefore I shall fight without armor too. And when he did that, he was like butt naked. He was like, he's snapping. He's fighting butt naked because the beast is fighting butt naked. So that's how I am, just coming as equals, right?
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Folks, the topic of the day is the rich versus the poor. Why do the 99% care more about what the 1% does versus becoming wealthy themselves? Folks, yes, I'll admit, all of us talking about this whole Kanye thing, which, I forgot to put Kanye West in my title, which I should have. I just wanted to pop it in there as a pop of color. Just to hit the algorithms, but it's all good. That's for me, that's what sparked this title, because what I notice a lot of times is that we get somewhat distracted when it comes to that. You know what I mean? We get kind of distracted when it comes to that whole ideal of everything that the 99% is doing. And so, for instance, when Candace Owens wore that shirt that said White Lives Matter only, she said, it's crazy how I can put this shirt on and get everybody in such an uproar, yet we're not as worried about diabetes running rampant in the Black woman community, right? In the melanated woman community. And I'll be honest, I'm very baffled behind our, hashtag Black Lives Matter, which I'm very open about the fact that I wish they had put the letter 2 or the word 2, TOO, at the end of that hashtag. And I think it would have diverted us from a lot of controversial conversations with that. But nonetheless, I'm always wondering why we don't jump in the hood and march and whatnot, in the hood when it's us, because we, as black on black crime, as they say, have killed more of each other than any police, any hangings, lynchings, any of that stuff. We've killed each other in larger numbers. So, Brother John would talk about that and say that, we don't, the reason why it's so easy for us to pull the trigger on each other is because we don't value each other as much. We look and we see a nigga and we keep perpetuating that. Therefore, we see someone subpar. So it's easy for those with that mindset to go ahead and look and pull that trigger. Right. Nonetheless, we get so caught up and in an emotional uproar will speak and people will get mad and all of that when it comes to what the 1% are doing. But hell, we don't even talk about, what they're doing to us when it comes to this whole get a shot thing. But, I digress. What's your thoughts on this, brother?
Yeah.
And hold, you know what, real quick, before we go, there was a couple comments here that popped up based on a couple things here that we were talking about earlier. Arlington Williams, he says, Pierre Lawson, you work from home. Many others cannot do that when they have to go to work. You know, when
It's
you were
talking about
talking.
homeschooling. As I mentioned, like if anybody can homeschool, if you have the capacity to do so, then definitely consider it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Pierre Lawson, look at you, all clean and Harvard looking. Absolutely. I see you brought some family, some peoples with you. It's all good. It's all good. Adolph Tompkins, he says, great idea. I like this. Challenge a young person about 13 or 14 on up to balance a check for 1 month to see where they are. Great idea. Yes, absolutely. So shout out to all y'all commenting and jumping in. Antonio Brown, he says, stop it. And ain't no such thing as black on black crime. Absolutely. And we in the hood when anything goes down. Exactly. So, and I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, we all, I mean, I know I came from the hood. This, you know, grew up that way, Richmond, Virginia, you know, South Side, all that good stuff. I feel like we should be the first ones there. You know, we should be there marching and protesting first up to the door, right? People kill who they are around. If you in a white neighborhood, white people kill white people. If you're in a black neighborhood, black people kill black people. They just don't put it on all on the news. And I'll agree. There's white on white crime.
Well, I mean, what
Need to
you're
have.
witnessing right there is, we have an accountability issue. No one has ever held us accountable. Like we got to hold ourselves accountable. It's not for other people to hold us accountable. As a people, we have to hold ourselves accountable. Can we do better? Can we be better? If we can do better, we can be better. Then why not be better? Stop making excuses for white person, this white man, that, this, that, and the third. White people kill each other as well. You have to understand. Just looking at the statistics, we make up the smallest portion of the population as far as versus the whites and the Hispanics. And so we're all competing as races. And when you take a look at this, the 13% people, which is us, we make up majority of the violence, the crime that's committed. Like we really have an issue that needs to be addressed. We need to be held accountable. The music doesn't help. That's the main culprit that I see is one of the main issues. We have lots of issues, but the music perpetuating, the sexual promiscuous, the perversion, the dope dealing, the gang bangers. I mean, you got drill music. I didn't even know what drill music was until one of my homeboys was like, yeah, they go and kill someone and they go to the studio and rap about it. I was like, really?
What?
I mean, I come from the music industry. I did it for 15 years.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, that's what it is. They go in and literally go kill someone and run to the studio and literally, rap about what occurred. And that's drill music because they're drilling someone, right? They're drilling them with the bullets. They're killing them, right? So I mean, this is what we have devolved to as a people, right? It's no more, Public Enemy #1, that revolutionary rap, right? We have devolved to killing each other and promoting the drug use. I mean, we have such a drug problem. It's ridiculous. These young kids, they don't know nothing about being productive and working and things like that. We are destructive and we need to solve this, and only us can solve it. The government can't solve it. So people stop looking for the government to solve our issues. We have to turn it around, You see people like the young guy, the old guy who's out now bullying the gangster rappers, Charleston White. He's popping. He's all over the internet now. And this guy's nuts if you ask me. But you know what? The society needs people like him. They need people like the Kanyes, the people that stand up and be bold enough to stand up against, atrocities committed against the communities and, people killing babies and, people getting raped and things like that. We have very thought-provoking conversations like, why wouldn't you snitch on someone who raped someone? That is just a crime against humanity. You don't rape someone and then somebody snitch on you. Oh, you snitching. Or that's snitching. Why you shouldn't have raped someone? Like you're the one who needs to be off the streets. You antagonizing people's communities and things like that. There's a lot of good people. We all come from the hood, right? And in the hood, most people rent, most people don't own. However, look at our communities. Look how bad these communities are. And, when I grew up in the hood, I saw a bunch of single, women that's there, but, they try to take care of their house and stuff. You see them out there sweeping off the porch, cleaning and things like that. And these young boys out here just, gang banging, shooting, killing, destroying, and don't care about our environment. We got to change that. And, I think if Brother John Yah was here, he would say the same thing.
Absolutely. And even when I look at the comment, Antonio Brown, there's no excuse. Like there isn't a such thing as white on white crime or black on black crime. It's just crime. You're absolutely right, because there's but here's the thing: there's no such thing as white or black. right? That's a term that Massa created long ago to separate, yet we still continue to use it, right? There's a melanated folk. You can go African American if you want. You know, you got the ADOS community, American descendants of slaves. You know, and when people hear that, they say, "Oh, I ain't no descendant of slave. I ain't no, you know, that doesn't. That's a well, you know, the ideal behind that is the sense of pride that hey, we made it. You know what I mean? We got here. So
well, let me
that's
challenge
why
you on
there's
that, brother
the
Joe. Let me
emphasis.
challenge you and brother Antonio Brown on that. You know, it just so happened to be. It doesn't matter about the color out of a crayon box, but we all as people are competing, whether you want to or not. That's why we have statistics that show you our different groups. You can see the reading comprehension skills and mathematical skills of young Black people versus Asian kids versus white kids versus Spanish kids. These are the constructs of society so that we can identify things, right? So it's not really, it doesn't matter if you're Black, brown, shit, I'm caramel brown, who cares, right? This is the group of people that I belong to, right? And so we're competing against all these other people. And so when we're looking at the statistics, when I look at the statistics, it breaks my heart. Many people don't look at the numbers. You know, it broke Kanye West's heart when he saw the abortion rate. You know, the abortion rate is out of this world. Why are, you know, we killing our future? I give you guys this story, right? Today, Blacks in America, we are the cream of the crop when it comes to melanated people, if you will, right? We are the cream of the crop. Every Black people around the world want to be where we are. We are in the promised land. We're in America, a capitalist society where you can literally become the 1%. You become rich. In fact, most of the millionaires that exist today, I think it's 80%, somewhere around 70 to 80%, are first generation millionaires. This is the place where you do that at. But guess what? Guess who sold us into slavery here in America? It was our brothers and sisters in Africa. They never left. They're still there. Now they had their hand out saying, hey, come back and help us. Okay. You know what they didn't value? They didn't value the future and the people. They didn't value people, us, as a commodity in such a way that we will bring future value. So they sold away the future value of Africa that could have built Africa to America, whereas we built America, and America is thriving, and Africa is not. You know, so when we are boarding our babies in the same way, you're aborting future doctors, future, you know, chemists, future Bill Gates, future Zuckerbergs, future Elon Musk. You don't know what those potentials are because you canceled them, you negated them before they even had a chance. And we're slowing as a population. The Hispanics have surpassed us. They make up over 17%. We make up only 13%. Whites is over 60%. So we are a minority because of number, just a numbers game, right? But we're, you know, we're not growing fast enough. The Hispanics are growing exponentially. All right, they're going to keep going. They're going to be 30% sometime soon. We're still at 13%, not growing. Part of that is we're not we're not procreating, meaning that we're not keeping our babies. We're killing the babies, right? And so you need to have population growth in the Black community, and you also need to stop or slow down the deaths in the population. So when the young boys are actually gang banging, they're doing the Jim Crow job for Jim Crow. They're doing the KKK job for the KKK by riding down, drilling your own brother and sister. We're so primitive. Yes, we have a behavior problem, and it should hurt your feelings. You should look at this, and when you see it, you're like, man, we gotta be slow. We have to be retarded. Yes, let that hurt your feelings enough that you change, right? Because when the Asians look at us, they're like, those people crazy. When the Filipinos look at us, when the Russians look at us, when everybody look at us around the world on the world stage, yes, we have a problem, and only we can fix that.
Well, what would you say about the you know, brother, Africa is thriving? That's what Willie Chalmers says.
Africa is not thriving. My family's from Liberia. Actually, I have lots of clients in Liberia who often send money over to Liberia. Now, Liberia is just one country in Africa, but you can take a look at Africa. Who's running Africa? China's running Africa right now. Africa's always been ran by, you know, the Europeans, and now it's being run by the Europeans and the Chinese. Right? The leadership in Africa. One of the problems. There's a guy named Lipton Matthews. You guys should look him up. He's an economist. He's very bright. He writes a lot on Africa, and there's lots of other people that's out there that write on Africa. But one of the problems with Africa is that first of all, let's just talk about why America's thriving. America's thriving because it tried this thing called freedom, capitalism. Capitalism raised the standard of living of everyone in America to the likes that it's never been seen ever in history. Before America, the world was ruled by feudalism. It was ruled by lords. Kings and queens ruled the world. So everybody worked at the pleasure of the kings you served. You didn't have a choice in what you did, what you wanted to do. But in America, you're free to do what you want to do, pursuing your own happiness. That simple ingredient, freedom, is what raises the standard of living of everyone. As you pursue your own things, lots of money gets made from that versus slave money, right? Slave money, that was going to have to end anyway, because it's not the same. Forced labor is not the same as happy labor. When you come to work happy, you're going to do a good job, right? So capitalism is the thing that raised the standard of living of America. And guess what? China is copying the model of the West. Now, before the 80s, China was doing socialism. They model after Stalin and Lenin, Russia communism. That's what they model after. And they killed, the estimates are from 30 to 100 million people, trying to have the government to dictate society. After that failure, China says, hey, we got to do what America is doing. We're going to copy capitalism. Now, from the 80s, these people went from tent huts to now they have metropolises that dwarf New York City, make New York City look like it's nothing. Okay, that is capitalism, right? And so that simple ingredient is what raised the standard of living here. In Africa, they still have socialist models in Africa. And the reason being is because they can't understand the difference between colonialism and capitalism. They conflate the two. And so because they associate capitalism with colonialism, they reject capitalism and they're still in a socialism. And so that's why they're still in poverty. Okay, because again, the West, the Europeans, that's where the capitalism model comes from. So it's not that
it seems like what China did is they said we're gonna copycat, but we're gonna do it better.
Well, China's always copycat. It's not their first iteration. They try to copy the Russians. They always copy. They've always copycat, and that's what they do. You put something out now, the Chinese will copy it, and they'll try to attempt to make things better. It doesn't mean that they make things better. They have a different philosophy. Their values are different from the American values. You have to understand the history of China to really kind of understand what they're doing. I have a friend of mine. We debate often. He's Chinese. And we have some really good debates, because the Chinese have 5,000 years of history. Black people, what is our history, right? See, what the Chinese do, they have written down their history. Black people, our history it was oral tradition. And when people die, so does the history goes, right? But the Chinese actually have, written history of thousands of years that they can track. And what I've actually studied, I see a constant theme with the Chinese. It's our circle. It's always this, this circle thing where, you always had emperors and, so it's this common thing that you can have a good government in China, and the government is the parent of all people, right? So you must answer to the government because the government is like your mother, your father. Unlike America is, there's no parent, it's freedom, it's individual. China is this, collective idea, but it's this fraternal structure that must guide your life. And the problem that we notice consistently throughout history is absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's never, someone who gets so much power that can do good for the people. It just doesn't happen that way. And so, I think that China should turn from that model. But what China did from the 80s, they used capitalism to build up a lot of wealth, and they've accumulated lots of wealth. And President Xi, he just got in for his third term. For you guys don't know, that was last week. It was all over the news for those that care. But this guy is basically looking at a lifetime presidency. And he's also looking at returning back to the socialist model of Mao Zedong. Okay. Now, the thing with socialism, you can't have socialism because without production, right? Socialism is a consumption system. It's redistribution from the rich, give to the poor. Okay. But if you don't have any production, then you cannot consume. So you have to have capitalism to have, any kind of consumption. And so what they've done, they build up a nice stockpile that they can consume for some time. And what they think they can do is straddle the fence to keep a balance, right? And that's why you have all these mixed economies that think they could do the same thing. But China actually does go back full-blown socialism. They're going to have to find themselves returning back to capitalism because they're going to deplete all of their resources at a very, very fast rate. And it's not going to increase and improve the standard of living of everyone. So but those are things that we got to pay attention to here in America as well. And since we're on that topic of, the 1% versus the 99%, the rich versus the poor, this is the war of the haves versus the have-nots. This is a theme that's been consistent in society. And
so let me ask you this real quick. Let me interject. Because your brother Willie Chalmers here, he post a Wikipedia link of the real GDP growth rates in Africa by country, right? And so you're the man who would really kind of decipher some of this stuff, especially, right? So I want to showcase that here in a second, and at some point, so we can kind of just like look at a little bit of that to talk about that, because when we say Africa's thriving, but then when we go and look at these GDP growth rates, then as a whole, I would say that maybe not Africa is thriving, but we'll let you decipher that. But I want to go back here to a couple of comments here. Antonio Brown. I think I know this, bro. I think we met. And I think he's part of a group of brothers that do some things in an organization that does some things in the hood and whatnot, which is dope. And one of the things, when you talk about, because this is something that I kind of see a lot, where people will say, well, we out here in the hood, we doing it. Where are you at? And a lot of us are out here, going and making the money and doing things on the back end, whether it be donating or whether it be openly having conversations like this, so that we can bring information, right? But at the same time, I always want to say, let's always look at bridging that gap. Hey, I know one of the things we talk about a lot is being able to come and take this information and stand in front of the exact people that need it and talk about it. I'm a licensed life insurance agent, you know what I mean? And I work mostly 99% from home on the phone. And these are things that I didn't as a kid say I can't wait to grow up and become a life insurance agent, but I did say, okay, what are we as a community lacking? It's information about money and investments and things of that nature. So I said, let me go and work in that market so that I could, focus on getting that information and bringing it back, right? And so I do a lot of that as well. But with that being said, then, a couple of comments, what it's starting to make me think about is mindset. All right. When I look at some of these comments, then I see a mindset concern. You missing the real question, why we in the state that we're in, why our community is in this position is because of the 1%. So, even, Joanna says, yes, we need help, but other communities should not, or other communities should, I'm assuming she meant shouldn't look down on us when they have the same issues. Okay. She says, but no other community should look down.
They don't. Yeah, Ms. Joanna, they don't have the same issues that we face in the Black community. Yeah. You don't see, the Jews gunning each other down. You don't see, well, I gotta say Jews because they might cancel me, but I'm saying Jews. You don't see them, gunning each other down. You don't see the hillbillies out there, gunning each other down in the streets like dogs. You don't hear country songs out here singing about, killing other men at astronomical rate. Like every record is about killing someone and downgrading their own women, calling them whores and, all kind of derogatory things. We have to hold ourselves accountable and say, hey, first things first is denial. Okay. First, you cannot be in a state of denial if you ever hope to change. The first thing to change is first you must admit and understand, come to the conclusion that you have a problem. So once we have figured out that, yes, we do have a problem, admit to that. Now we can actually figure out what we need to do to solve those things. And so, they're that's why when they look at us, they look at us like, yo, those people the Chinese are not gunning each other down in the streets like dogs like this.
So even when you talk about those numbers, you talk about the ideology of there being, the tipping point, right? There's a tipping point. They say that whenever numbers get up to like 40% or over 40%, then that's a tipping point and you can't go back, or at least it's very, very difficult to go backwards, right? So right now in America, America as a whole is having children out of wedlock at 41%, I believe it is, right? Now, when you start to break those numbers down, it's like 17% is the Asian community, 35% is the European community, and then like 75% right now is the melanated community.
Exactly.
So, you know, there is some concerns, there is some issues, and that's why we're having this conversation. I want to bring someone very familiar up to the stage as well. Our other brother from another mother who is dipping in, handling business, taking care of some things. And I'm gonna tell you something. One of the reasons why I love this brother so much is because you can't tell me anything about anyone going to prison and having an inability to make it. You can't tell me about any of that. You can't tell me about being a single father, having to raise daughters, and not having the ability to raise a great daughter. Why? Because this brother has done it, and you know what I mean? He's done it in such a magnificent manner. Welcome to the stage, our other brother from another mother, brother John Ya. You're muted, just so you know. What's going on, family?
Brother Ya. What's up? Good morning.
Hey, peace, brother. Thank you for that introduction, man. I definitely had to come in. I'm right now at the shop getting some things done to my van. I had to get a new van and get it situated to go to work right with it. So that's why I'm here now, and I probably won't be staying here long. I'll probably be coming to get my van to take it in the back in a minute. So I'm gonna be real quick about this, and hopefully I can be able to rock with y'all the rest of the show. You know, this is a great topic. I was listening in, and I just couldn't help but want to come on in and talk about this a little bit, specifically with those that are paying attention and listening. You know, we're talking about that 1%, and let me tell you something real quick about the mentality that we have as a people. We are prone to be victims, okay? And we do everything to stay victims. And what do I mean when I say that, okay? So if you call yourself a minority, you're calling yourself the least strong, you're a victim. If you're calling yourself black, you're calling yourself weak, you're the least strong, you're a victim. So every time we look up, we are being victimized. Police victimizing us. We victimizing ourselves. We can't get credit. We can't get loans. We can't get housing. You know, we're always going to this victim mode. And I truly understand. But one of the things I discovered in my journey and even in my thesis of my writings that I'm talking about is the ability to use the mind to overcome any obstacle in any situation. If it is true that you can manifest the life you want, then what does it even mean if you can't do it because of somebody or this 1% got a hold on the world? See, I really don't accept that concept. I understand this concept here, that you are what you think. If you think that you are less than, you will become less than. If you think there's something that is above you that's stopping you from achieving, then you're absolutely right. I can't tell you you're wrong. But in my world, nothing is stopping me from achieving. And why do I say that? Because I discovered something while even in prison. And most of you guys who are listening never been to prison before, and I get that part too. And I'm not advocating anybody should go to prison to discover yourself, right? But I found something that's very unique, and that was my brain. That I knew that I had the ability, or I learned that I had the ability to overcome any obstacle by using my thoughts of who I thought of myself and the way I think, right? So one of the things that I always teach is this. How do you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself is everything. If I ask you a question about being wealthy, how do you feel about being wealthy? How do you feel about being rich? If you have an automatically disposition against people that are wealthy, guess what? The universe will not provide you wealth. If you use the word, if you use this word that I like to talk about, bougie Negroes, right? You know how we always claiming black people who get money become bougie. Well, guess what? If you black, then the last thing the universe is going to give you is money, because why? You don't want to be bougie. So it's based upon how you think of yourself. If you remove the obstacles of way you view yourself and you elevate who you are by believing that you can achieve anything you want to achieve, trust me, you stay there, it becomes exactly what you are. But again, if you're thinking that you are less than, if you're thinking that you are lacking, then that's what the universe will give you. Now let's talk about this 1%. This 1% is an absolute illusion of what you think it is when we talk about 1%. Who the hell calculated this 1% of this 1% is owning the world and controlling everything? Listen, my word is this. My word is be able to breathe, exercise, experience, and express, and take care of my family. That's it. I'm not here trying to be a billionaire or a trillionaire in order for me to accept and appreciate life as it is. If you're right now thinking that you can't achieve because of that 1%, then that becomes the dangle. Those are the distractions. Every time you have this conversation about building wealth, there will be someone that will come in and talk about the 1%. But guess what? If you focus on a billionaire and you look at what he's trying to do, that will minimize your capability of what you can do step by step every day, right? Because we're too busy focusing on someone else. The main biggest thing, the number one reason we can't achieve, Black people, melanated people, Moors, whatever you want to call us, it's because we are seriously distracted. Hey, if you hate the white man that much, turn that fucking TV off. Stop eating the Eurocentric diet. Stop believing in his Eurocentric religion. See, a lot of times when we talk about that hating white people or talking about the white man, but yeah, you eating McDonald's, goddammit. How in the fuck you gonna have a revolution? Your ass is eating food that are fucking up your gut, right? How in the hell are you gonna educate yourself if you're sending your kids to their schools to be educated? See, you have to start with self. We're too busy focusing on that 1%. Fuck that 1%. The 1% does not exist. Focus on what you can do every day to achieve your goals in life. How you going to take care of your family? How you going to get along with your people? Worry about where you are in your Pacific area, in your space, not something you can't take care of or even worry about. And those things are distractions. They love dangling that shit in our face. They dangle shit in our face like a gold to get us distracted. They dangles in our face this distraction or this trigger word called black. Police killed another black man. Another unarmed black man was killed. You see that? You hear that word black all the time. Those are trigger words. Those trigger words will distract you from whatever goal that you're trying to achieve. And guess what? If you're getting upset over life, guess why? You haven't complete your goals. So the question is, what are your goals? Are your goals for the collective of the people and you neglect your own personal goals? Then tell me something. You are headed nowhere and you are going nowhere fast if you are collectively, because that collective ain't doing nothing for you personally. So I tell everyone, what is your goals, your personal goals? What are you trying to do in life? What are you trying to achieve? And what is your focus when you wake up in the morning? Is your wake up in the morning focus upon a collective, or your wake up in the morning focus upon your single? I say this to everyone who comes together to a meeting. If you're coming together and you haven't actually achieved your individuality, then you come to a meeting with your hand out. You can't bring nothing to a meeting until you complete your own personal goals yourself. So the 1% is just an illusion. We're focusing on that 1% and you're distracted of your percent. What can you bring to the table? What are you doing personally to improve yourself? That's the key.
Man,
thank you,
bruh. Always bringing the real, and it can't be denied. Absolutely appreciate it. So how's the new van feeling?
You know, it's interesting. I can talk about vans all day long on this situation here, on why I had to buy this van opposed to the other van. So my company van was totaled a couple of weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I've been struggling with trying to find a new van. All the prices of vans went up. All cargo vans went up. I mean, they really putting it to the business people, right? So in other words, a cargo van in 2020, I paid $22,000 for a brand new cargo van. The cargo van was totaled out, and guess what? I made money off that cargo van. They paid me $30,000 for that cargo van, and it already had like 80,000 miles on it, right? So when I started looking at new vans, they are very expensive. The Fords, $50,000. And even the Dodge, which these vehicles are no good. I guarantee you, I would never want one as much as I drive. They're not going to last. They're only going to give you a 60,000 mile warranty. They're not going to last it. So I went and got the Mercedes vans, which I wouldn't have bought it. A little bit more expensive, but I figured if I'm going to spend 50 grand for a Ford, I might as well spend 50 grand for a Mercedes. So anyway, I ended up getting this van, and it's very nice. And it's a work van. It's just a work van for me. But again, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have bought a Ford if the Ford wasn't asking for 50 grand. So, it's kind of left me with a situation to where I'm in it now. My business is great. And so I'm just, this is my mule that I got to have. So I got to fix it up. I got to get my windows tinted and put some lighting inside before I put the shelving in and get it back to work this week.
Brother, yeah, hopefully you can stay with us a little longer, man. But let us know if you got to go. Please stay on camera with us for a little longer if you can.
Yeah, they haven't came and got it yet,
Okay,
so
okay.
I'm with you.
So
Absolutely.
And again, for those who don't know my background, again, I work with billionaires and multimillionaires, asset managers. We're in meetings constantly. I meet these people all the time. We do business together. We lend money out to them so they can actually do what they need to do, right? So I also practice Austrian economics. For those who don't, have an understanding of economics, I'm constantly talking about those things. But our people really don't have an understanding on economics, and Austrian economics is one of the easiest forms of economics that you can learn. Austrian economics is based off the principles of human action. Human action is the genesis of all economic activity. It is irrefutable that humans will act. Humans must act, economize, right? Why do humans act is the second question, right? And the reason I'm telling you guys this because Joe brought up the topic that why are we not worried about getting our own wealth, right? So one of the things is that with human action, we know that first of all that humans will act, but we have to understand why do humans act. Humans act to remove dissatisfaction or to gain satisfaction. Okay, so meaning that if your stomach is grumbling, you're going to go get you something to eat because you're hungry. You must remove that disease, that dis-ease, right? That dissatisfaction. You must satisfy it. So that's the reason why you do the things that you do is to remove dissatisfaction or to bring about satisfaction. Now, in order for you to actually do those things, one must believe. And Brother Yah talks about this all the time. Belief is a powerful thing. One must believe that his actions can bring about the satisfaction that he seeks, or that it can remove the dissatisfaction, or he will not act. Okay. Simple example is you're on the couch. There's a buzzing noise. If the buzzing noise is annoying you, you're in a state of dissatisfaction. Now you must think, what can I do to remove that dissatisfaction? So you start to think that, okay, is there something that I can do to remove this dissatisfaction? If it is an airplane in the sky that's buzzing above your head, you don't have an RPG to blow it out the sky. Therefore, you're not going to act because your actions can't bring about the satisfaction that you seek. Now, if there was a fly that's buzzing around your head, you have a fly swatter. You can go get that fly swatter, and you can achieve this thing that will bring about your satisfaction. You can kill the fly. Now you can get back on the couch and watch a TV show, and and remain at a state of satisfaction. So those are the principles of why we act and the reason why we would not act. When it comes to wealth, it's just my experience that fortunate for me that I came from the projects. Shout out to my hometown, K-Town. I came from Simon Bright projects, Carver Court projects, Hickory Hill Trailer Park. I came from all of that. I lived in homeless shelters and everything. In Charlotte, I lived in Double Oaks, most dangerous neighborhood, right? Fortunately for me, I was taken out of that environment and introduced to a better world. And so that's why I overcame lots of obstacles and different from my brothers. That exposure. My godfather is Pastor John P. Key. For those that don't know, he's a famous gospel singer. They call him the Prince of Gospel Music, but he took us under his wings and took care of my family. So I was plugged into, a wealth mindset at a young age because I knew that it existed. I touched it. It was close to me in proximity. I could call it on the phone if I needed to. And so many of us are not in proximity to it. So therefore, we don't even believe that it exists. We don't even believe that we can attain it. And so you look at the wealthy people and just admire, what they have and just wish, but you don't think there's nothing you can do that could, get you there, right? And so I want to know between you and Brother John Yah, your thoughts on, these things that I'm discussing here about the belief that one's actions can bring about the satisfaction that they seek, which is, wealth. Any color you like to add?
It's interesting. I like that. I like the way you compare the fly to the plane, because what that says is that you can't do nothing about the plane. It's way up there, but you can't do something about the fly. So the question, what I'm hearing when you say that is, we're talking about that 1%. That's the plane making the noise way up there, right? Mm-hmm. And so the question is, what are you doing about the fly? And that's the thing. So you're focused on the plane, you should be focused on the fly. So that's how I see it. I see it that just like you're putting it, if we end up, if I started business, and I remember being on Clubhouse, and listen to this. This is very important. That something happened to me. So I was on Clubhouse maybe a year ago when I first started getting on Clubhouse. I started seeking these groups, these millionaire groups of this discussion, that just having basic discussion with other millionaires. And I came up on some great rooms with some true millionaires, okay, discussing some really big stuff, black, different colors. And here in this conversation, I was listening to these people selling their businesses for $3.5, $8 million return, right? 10 million, and I'm listening and I got lost for a minute. I got so lost that I began to feel small. And here I am running a business, and I ain't giving my numbers out, but here I am running a business. And I'm like, wow, I would love to be running a business for $8 million and sell it for $10 million, right? And it made me realize, and it started making me de-appreciate what I've already accomplished, because I'm focusing on what they were talking about, and I'm not looking at the value of myself. Mm-hmm. We can lose value in ourselves by looking at someone else. We can devalue ourselves by looking at someone else who's making $20,000 or $50,000 a month, and I'm making probably $10,000 or $2,000 a month. We'll devalue ourselves by worried about somebody else, opposed to looking at the ability of our individual value. What value do you carry? We had a show, me and Joe, we talked about people, individuals having no value of themselves. How do you value yourself to where that 1% don't mean nothing to you because you're taking care of your family, you are doing what you need to do, whether you're working a job, a 9 to 5, regardless of what you're doing to make a living, you are making a living. Why do you worry about what somebody else is doing that you're not doing? So in other words, what I'm saying is that if I started focusing on, when I started my business standing on a corner selling incense. I started my business actually standing on a corner selling car to car. And if I started focusing on something that I can't reach at that moment, I would give up. I would give up the ability of standing on that corner. It would just take it out of me, but I didn't, because I didn't focus on no one else. I didn't care what no one else thought of me standing on that corner. And I started just digging down inside myself and telling myself who I am and what I can do. And my world started changing. It's just that simple. And again, if you're not going to turn that TV off, if you're not going to focus on yourself and internalize it, me and you, Joe and I, we talk a lot. I send you texts on information that I get all the time that I listen to. I listen to affirmations. I don't listen to crap. I don't listen to crappy ass music. I don't watch nothing. No, I don't have a TV, by the way. I don't watch nothing that cannot elevate me. If it can't elevate me, I ain't listening. So I got to ask the questions of those who are down and out and those who are looking for this government changeover to come and help you. I have to ask you, what are you doing? Where are your thoughts? Where are your mindset? Because I can look at a person and I can tell you, it is true. A man, what he is what he thinks about most of the time. And I can look at a person and tell you what you think about most of it. Listen, if your ass think about sex all the time, guess what you will become? Just a dick. Because all you thinking about is sex, and that's how you're going to look, right? So you actually are what you think about. If you're thinking I'm low, I'm down, I'm beat down, guess what you will become? Low, beat up, and beat down. If you think you are oppressed and you thinking of the oppressor all day long, guess what you will become? The oppressed. So you got to change your mindset. Don't blame those who have got the key. Try to understand what is the key, because there's something out here no one's getting. There are people that are moving different. They're thinking different. And it doesn't matter. Universe don't care what color you are. If I ask for something, if I ask that I want to bring something into my space, universe don't care what color it is. It's going to answer exactly it is what I want. So I ask everyone, be very careful of your mindset. Watch what you think. Pay attention to what you're asking for. and change your frame of mind of what you think of yourself.
I love everything that you said
Absolutely.
there, Brother John. Yeah, like comparison will kill your hopes and dreams. People need to stop comparing. There's no, it's, everybody doesn't start off at the same place in life. So you can't compare, no way. There's no way for you to
Mhm.
equally compare yourself to someone else. You don't know, I was just having this discussion last night about how some people come into wealth because someone passed away and passed down wealth to them, maybe an insurance policy. And here you are trying to compete with this person who just, out of nowhere just accumulated $500,000 that someone left behind. You can't compete with someone like that. So stop trying to, and stop trying to compare, right? You don't know how they got to where they are. Focus on yourself. My pastor, who's also wealthy and successful, he said that, he's already rich, but he said when he looked on Instagram, he saw Kevin Hart. He said he hated his life for a moment. He said, what did I do wrong in life? This guy's house is just crazy. Like this guy's level of wealth. Like, what did I do wrong? You got to turn that stuff off, man. And, wealth is subjective. Crypto Kenny was talking about it early. People got to understand that it's subjective. And I think what's more important for people to understand is that when you think about wealth, think about increasing your standard of living. If you think about it from that point of view, I think I think this is arbitrary number of just, I got to get to $1 million and that's it. A lot of people think that once you hit $1 million, you have to do nothing else. I can assure you, you will be back broke in no time. There's lots of numbers you can see. I think it's over 70% of people that win the lottery go broke. Over 70% of people that win the lottery who just miraculously,
because it is right here,
hundreds of millions out of nowhere, lost it. Just because you have money don't mean that you can maintain it. One of the number one things that's on the minds of the wealthy, if you care to know, is preserving their wealth. Right?
Mhm.
You don't want to win all the money and lose the money. I remember working one day and I told this older guy who was my leader at the time. He reminds me of Brother John. Yeah, he always said you got to sit at the foot, of the elders, right? And I was telling him, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be rich. He said, what you mean, young man, you want to be rich? He's the first person that actually introduced me to stocks and everything 2 years ago. I said, I don't want to be rich. He said, why not? I said, man, for some odd reason, when people get rich, they go back broke. I said, I don't want to get to that level of success and then have to go back being broke. So therefore, I don't even want to be rich, right? And he said, that don't make no sense. Like, we have these false beliefs in our heads, and a lot of them are immature and we play on them and we keep ourselves limited. It's all about that mindset thing. You know what I'm saying? That we're talking about. It's about behavior, mindset. Money has, like I said, a lot of people are afraid of economics and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with math. It's all about behavior. That's why your grandma got money and you broke. You got people that's making $40 an hour that's living paycheck to paycheck. Grandma doesn't make no money, but she has savings. She knew how to behave. We don't know how to behave with money. You get money, you're on Instagram with a roll of cash on, you got your earrings and your big chains and all of that, and then you go back broke. That's why you see all these intellectuals, the people that in our community who we view as the 1% in the Black community. You're trying to keep up with them, and a lot of those people go broke. Look at Hammer. He made it to places that you probably would never go, and he went broke, right? He didn't manage his money well. We have to have a relationship with money where we understand it. Money is immoral. It doesn't have, it's not good or bad. It's just a tool that can be used for good or bad. So that's another thing. People just think that, I don't want to be rich because it's going to make me evil and I'm not going to make it to the kingdom of heaven. Like that's not even what it's about. You have to have money to bring about change. And what money does is it buys you freedom. It buys you the ability to acquire. Like people don't want money, as I say this all the time. People don't want money. People want what money can buy, right? Can money buy you some freedom, some time, so that you could be at home with your family, so you could be at home with your kids, so you could be on vacation like Brother Leonard every other week, right? So you could buy you some vans like Brother John Yah with his business, right? That's what money it allow us to be able to do those things. You want to bring about the change in your community. You're going to need money to do those things. You want to feed the homeless. You want to feed the poor and shelter. You're going to need money to be able to do so. So I think that's another reason why it's important when you see a brother like Kanye or Ye in the position that he's in. If you sit down and actually literally listen to him, for those haters out there who just hate just to want to hate, they wish they would have chosen one. They're just jealous. If you listen to Ye over the past 3 years, he tells you his whole story. He's been very open about it. He's built the domes where he's building these shelters for homeless people and they tore it down. Like, who else do you know that's actually trying to help these things? He had to shut his school down, built a school for people. He's buying land. I saw him on the, not Jay Leno, but one of those guys' shows one night, and there was a black guy, an older gentleman who won the lottery. and he was there, Gucci from his head to his toes, and Kanye was a guest on the show, and he said, "Hey, listen, brother, I see you there with Gucci from your head to your toe. Now you got all this money that you just won, but before you lose all the money, I want to give you an opportunity to invest with me. I own lots of land. Connect with my people, and so we can help you to preserve and maintain your money before you blow it off all on luxury items and things like that." And so, I mean, that was really powerful for a billionaire like himself to give some advice to someone. That's the stuff that we need, mentorship. How many of us have mentors? I have mentors that I can call, and my mentors are, they're, top cream of the crop, if you will. These guys are running, Fortune 100 companies and things of that nature. So I can actually tap into their knowledge. And I'll leave it at this, and I'll give it back to you guys. John Hope Bryant, he says that if you hang with non-millionaires, you're going to be the 10th. You have to change. In the hood philosophy keeps us hindered. It says you can't change. Oh, he switched up. He changed. You damn right I changed. The key to survival is adaptability. You must change or you will die. You see it happens all the time in the animal kingdom. You are no different. If you fail to adapt, then you will surely die. And that's what's happened to us. We're not. I'm going to stay the same. I'm going to stay hood for the rest of my life. You must evolve. Where I started is not where I ended. Where I started is not where I'm going. It breaks my heart to see my brothers and sisters, my family, I have family that are born and raised in the projects. They're still there. Their kids and grandkids are still there. Why are we still here? Again, we got to be accountable, man. Like, again, if you need help, there's lots of help. You have shows like the Tipping Point Morning Show, who's on every Saturday. Why are you not plugged in? No, you're so worried about the Kardashians. You're so worried about Kanye. Why are you not plugged in? People are giving this information, the knowledge that we're getting, right? I'm not a billionaire. I'm in proximity to the billionaires. And again, maybe one day I will be. That's not my goal. But again, I'm going to know what they know. So should I, wield it as a weapon, I'm going to benefit. I'm going to raise my standard of living and my quality of life. And that's wealth for me. So just keep that in mind.
And that's what's so dope is it's not about the numbers. It's about adding value to yourself. So when you talk about people going broke that just won the lottery or what have you, I was listening to something this morning. And again, that plays a part in it too. What are you listening to every day? And when you first wake up, when your mind is fertile and that soil is fertile, what are you listening to? If you wake up listening to mayhem and menace and war and the news and all that crap, well, guess what? That's what your day is going to be like. But this morning I'm listening to something and the guy said, it would be best for you to, I think it was Bob Proctor, I think. He said it would be best for you to, as you create wealth or as you raise your income, to invest in more knowledge, more wisdom, right? So that means no one at this point, I'm gonna tell you, no one has an excuse. We all have supercomputers in the palm of our hand. So with those supercomputers, I can sit here and I can say, what are the best ways to increase my financial literacy? And guess what? It's going to come back with all this information that's going to tell me different things about how I can. There's books in here. There's all type of reads. But guess what? We live in a society where people have an attention span that's like this big. So that's why you have YouTube Shorts. You know what I mean? Because people's attention span is only about 1 minute long. So, no one wants to pick up anything and read, even if it's digital. No one wants to get the books that you got behind you. I joke with you about those books being virtual backgrounds, but the real stuff, you can go and reach behind you and grab something. John Yah can go and reach in his office, in his home, and grab a book that has to do with the particular subject. When we started talking about crypto on the show, John Yah, he sent me a picture of like 3 books that he bought. Why? Because he wants to be in the know. So that's the whole thing when it comes to creating wealth. And again, when we talk about, wealth versus riches,
we can lead them to the well, but they don't mean they're going to drink. Now, whose problem is that? How do you solve for such a thing?
Exactly.
That's why I said we have to be accountable for. Listen, we have to be accountable, man.
Yeah, really that's it. Accountability. You know, we have to be absolutely accountable. And I tell you what, I challenged like and Antonio Brown when he was on here talking, brother, you know, whatever you into, you know, you want to bring this information to the hood. Let's talk about it. Let's sit here and let's create something to where you got the brothers that you're working with, you know, let's get them all together. Let's show them how different avenues of how investing can work from the phone. You know, let's show you, let's plug into the things and the ways that you got going on right now, you know, this digital world. And there's people like Pierre and John that could bring some information to help change mindset. And that's what it is. So let's create that bridge. Let's do that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, I think that, so in our community, a lot of times we complain about we don't have resources. We don't have this, we don't have that, right? You have to make good with what you do have, right? What's interesting is before I moved to New York, you know, down here, the schools that was here in Charlotte, the kids had all kind of technology. They had the latest iPads, they had everything, right? But the school system score, the grading of the score was like a level 6, okay, like a level 6, which is kind of midway, right? The ranking of schools is from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest score that a school can attain. When we moved to New York, we went to a very rural school. I mean, in New York, the school didn't have air conditioning, okay? There's no air conditioners in the school. They had no iPads, they had no technology, none of that stuff. But the school system, we moved to the area that we moved to because they had the best school rating. And so as a parent, we were concerned about our children's education. That's very important for us. We always move to places that have the best school system because that's important for our kids. We homeschool now, but at the time, my college kid at the time, she was in public school. So we made sure that her and my son went to the best school they had. What I noticed, this is my observation of what I noticed, is that and again, this is mostly a mostly white school, clearly. But what I noticed going to the basketball games, because my daughter played AAU basketball and stuff like that, and so we were all on the road all the time with all the parents and things like that. The parents was at every freaking game. They were attentive. They was in their children's lives. They were invested. It costs a lot of money for those who are into AAU and stuff like that. It costs a lot of money, and not just money, but your time. Every weekend, like, you don't have time to be at nobody's club because you have to be at your kids' AAU game in another city. You're traveling to different states and stuff like that, and it's costly. They invest in their kids, and their kids, my son at the time, I can't remember how old he was, maybe 10 or so, was young, but the kids his age, they spoke as eloquent as I did. They gave presentations and they spoke as eloquent as an adult, as an educated adult. You don't find that in our communities. Now, mind you, we can get all the resources in the world. So my point is, you can have all the resources in the world and it's not going to change the mindset of the kids. And that's another issue. Because you have somebody like Brother John Yao, whoever goes to the community, speak to the people, or whatever the guy's name in the thing. If he goes and contribute to these kids' life, what happens when he goes back to his destructive home? It gets washed away. The change never comes about. It's fleeting because they go back into a destructive environment where you have parents that are not concerned with their children's education. They're more concerned with, you know, the Joneses, the latest, this, that, and the third. If it's a single mom, she's trying to get her a man, or maybe a job, trying to get some money. More focus on those things than the kids. And so again, you have this perpetual cycle that just continues over and over, where we have to pour, and then you have to enrich into the kids and pour into the kids' life. But if you're not in that position, you have to pour into your life first. That means you must seek the knowledge. You want your kids to be this A1 outstanding citizen, but you're not. You know, you want your kid to not smoke, do drugs, do all this stuff, but yet you smoke, you do drugs. What do you think they're going to do? Then you beat them because they're doing what they see you do. You're whooping them and beating them because they got caught smoking weed at school and they selling drugs at school, but that's what his daddy do. His daddy sell drugs and you smoking. You know, you at the club every week. What kind of child do you think you're going to raise? You know, and then you want the 1% gentleman. You know, you want the man who has all the money, who's going to wine and dine you, treat you like a lady. Kevin Samuels, you know, I know people hate him, but he was telling the truth. You know, you're not going to find that man. You know, once he understands your situation and how you treating your kids. Man, listen, this happened to me. I had a beautiful woman back in the day. looked like Pocahontas. She was beautiful. But man, listen, I left her and I broke her heart, but I didn't like the way she treated the kids. She treated me like a king. She bought me food, breakfast, dinner on a tray. The kids cut up in school. I'm at the school talking to the people, and she's like, F that little dude. He gonna be like his daddy because his daddy in prison. Her own son. Oh, I can't fix it. I can't change. See, that's what I'm saying. People don't act if they don't think that their actions could bring about the satisfaction. She don't even think that she has the capability of changing her son's trajectory. So therefore, she don't care. Therefore, she won't act. But this happens. If it happens on a major scale in our communities, they like his daddy in prison. He gonna be nothing but he gonna be just like his daddy. But then you have the women that you go and procreate with these guys, and then you blaming everything else. Well, you made a choice to be with this guy, and you procreated with him. But you still must, be concerned as a parent. Listen, there's so many other things that your kids can be doing besides football and basketball. All right, only the top 1% of them are going to make it anyway. But guess what? You can get them into boot camp, coding boot camps on like all over the place. Coding boot camps. You can get them into all kind of other programs that exist out there. Maybe you don't know about them. So maybe we could provide you with some resources so you can see these things. You could provide your kid because listen, man, a lot of these people, you're looking at the celebrities, but listen, these celebrities, that's kind of like winning the jackpot. A lot of people that's making a lot of wealth, making a lot of money, and they just live decent, they earn a decent living. They work a good job. They may have got some college education. Maybe they started a business, so the key to building wealth is meeting the demand, meeting a need, and you'll be rewarded for meeting a need. Find the area that needs some kind of attention and needs something fixed, and you fix it. And that's how you find, your money, right? Somebody needs grass cut. As a kid, I used to cut grass. My mama didn't have to tell me to do nothing. I went to grab the lawnmower and went out there. My mom started charging me gas money. She's like, boy, you using all my gas. I'm like, hey, I see exactly. I'm walking around the yard. We walk around the yard, we walk around the neighborhood and you see people grass is up here. And I'm just like, I got a lawnmower. So for me, that was my little business as a kid. I would, took my lawnmower, went and knocked on doors, said, hey, I'll cut your grass, man. They're like, how much you charge me, little man? I'm like, $10. They're like, little man, $10 ain't enough money. Let me give you 20. I cut the hell out the damn yards. Yeah.
And all it was you saw a problem and you went to go fix it. And that's one of the greatest American dreams there in creating business is people go and solve problems. So same thing with Bezos. He saw a problem. He said, you know what? I'm gonna cut the middleman out and I'm gonna connect people more. And that's going to change pricing. So he solved it. And guess what? He was rewarded in wealth for it, but he first sought to solve a problem. Right. So I want to get out of here real quick because, again, as we talk about investing in our kids,
I think brother, y'all got something he going to say.
No, I'm definitely.
Oh, okay.
Gonna let him jump on here real quick first. But as we invest in the kids, then I want to go invest in the kid and watch his game here in a little bit. But as we move on, John, please give us something before we get out of here, brother. And Pierre and I will follow up behind.
Yeah, as you can see, they came and got the van, so I'm glad they came in and do some work on it. I didn't feel like waiting all this time anyway. But, listening, it's very interesting. Again, Pierre, you brought some great points up. I love the fact that you are homeschooling your child. Man, that's a power move that a lot of us really don't get when it comes to our children. Here's another one. And for those of you who are listening, and we have this understanding about let's be Black in power, is, see, we think of ourselves. We don't think of our children. These 1% people, they think of their children's children. Mm-hmm. They think 30, 40 years from now. They're not thinking of today. Now, they got the money to do that, but they had the money to build it that way. And here's the interesting point. You can do that also by just getting you life insurance. Mm-hmm. Getting some life insurance and leave it to your kids. That's not hard to do, but people think, damn, I'm putting all that money away, but I'm not going to see it. It's not for you to see. It's for your children. See, so we can build wealth. It's really simple to build wealth. I don't believe that. I believe that what identifies wealth? People think wealth is having things and cash. It's really not it. Wealth is actually the ability to understand how your brain functions and your gut communicates with your brain, how your cells work, how your cells communicate. Listen, if you can stand up and walk and you can listen to this video right here, you are wealthy, but you don't know you're wealthy. So again, this is when we talk about mindset. You can't get what you don't already have. What do I mean by that? If you ain't already got it here, you ain't going to get it in this dimension. If you think you're poor here, you're going to be poor out here. It's just that simple. So we got to change our situation of the way we think. Mm-hmm. You are already wealthy. That 1% don't have no more wealth than I do. Mm-hmm. And here's the piece. You judging the wealth based on things. When you do that, you devalue your personal self. Let me tell you my view. And this is very interesting. All the gold and diamonds and all the minerals in the world is not more valuable than me. See, I don't place nothing more valuable than me. I am more valuable than anything on the planet. To me, I am. You see? See, here's the piece. Gold can't come up from up under that ground and shape iron. Humans can. The brain can. You can dig in the ground, take gold out, melt it down, shape it into one that you wanted to shape it in, and you can blend it with another metal. The metal can't do that. So understand your wealth. Just because people got the diamonds and the jangling stuff and the big cars, they're not wealthier than you. Mm-hmm. You got to look at your life that way, that there is nothing no one has that I'm going to diminish myself so small and think that they're better than me, they're bigger than me, they got more than me. No. If you begin to understand that you are wealthy, you would attract all this material shit. Mm-hmm. Once you first believe that you are already wealthy and none of that shit matters to your believing that you are wealthy first. You got to think of yourself, of how you look at yourself, not how you judge yourself based on things and other people. It's you first. You first.
Absolutely. Just good stuff right there. Let me go ahead and say a last word, and then Pierre, I want you to close us out with a last word. I love what John said about how the wealthy people focus on their children's children. And that's because they're thinking bigger, right? And I hear that a lot in motivational circles is whatever you're thinking, think bigger. You have that capability. You have that power to think bigger. Imagine if you looked at yourself, for those that are the religious, right? It says that God poured a portion of his spirit into man, right? So created in the image of God, poured a portion of his spirit into man. Hold up. That right there in the religious circles that isn't being preached, that damn near makes you a god. Right? Okay, so let's think about that for a second. You have the ability to create change. You have the ability in your world, all right? The things that you touch and affect every day, you have the ability to change the outcome of it simply by the way that you think. So you are, in essence, a god of your world, all right? You control that world. All right. So when you start thinking about tapping into that God force energy that is around you, that you've been given a portion of, that just circulates around you all day, every day, you have the ability to make whatever happen that you so choose to happen. My dad said, Joe, I never focused on getting the Porsche. I never focused on getting the hard top, drop top, blood red Lexus. I never focused on the BMW, never focused on the Mercedes. But guess what? He focused on being happy. He focused on being happy, adding value to himself, right? In his workplace, in his relationship, So that's seeking therapy and anything where there was something that he could perfect or lift up or be better at. He focused on doing that. And just like John just said, all those material things came. Wasn't what he was looking for, you know. Mercedes truck came for the business over here. But the things came simply because he focused on being happy and adding value to his life. All right. So when we look at that, what Pierre said earlier about we focus on a person, they get money passed down from, let's say, a life insurance policy. John spoke about that as well. But think about that for a second. People will sit there and say, oh, man, yeah, they got the money handed down to them. But you don't focus on the important part. The important part was the fact that, oh, a life insurance policy can do that? If you really want to look up to what another person like that is doing, well, focus on that important part, because now you're talking about how you can set up a life insurance policy and set your kids up for generations to come. So for the amount that you're paying every month for those new pair of kicks or whatever the case may be, the frivolous things that we spend money on, you could have $1 million policy. Guess what? The reality is that you're going to die one day. You just don't know the day nor the hour. The least you could do is say, you know what? If anything happens to me, I'd like to make sure that my family is set up for generations to come. Think about that picture sitting over the mantle. It could be yours because you set your family up for generations to come. So with that in mind, I'm just saying, change your mindset. You've got the opportunity to do it. You could type in how to change your mindset on Google, and you'll find all type of motivational things. And so the reason why I was listening to what I was listening to this morning was because it's a daily thing. It's a daily thing about keeping my mindset on point. It's not a one-time thing. It is a daily thing.
It's a ritual.
It's a ritual. Absolutely. Affirmations are affirmations because on the daily, you have to, and if you want to call it this, trick your mind. All right. Nonetheless, it's work and it's something that you have to do. And if ever me personally find myself down a bit, then I look and I say, you know what? I start looking at the things that I've been listening to and realize that I haven't been on point lately with my affirmations, my motivational videos and things of that nature, or the conversations that I should be having with those people around me who are at or focusing on, being up here where I want to be. Right. So that's why I appreciate people like Pierre, appreciate people like John Ya, and the meetings and the circles that we come into because of this show and other things. So Pierre, last words before we get out of here, brother.
Oh yeah, I think we're all in confluence here. You guys heard it from all three of us telling you it's a mindset thing. So stop looking at blaming the white man or Trump or Biden, whoever the case may be. You have to deal with yourself. What is it that I need to do to get to where I need to be? What is it that I don't know that I need to learn? Who is it that I need to come into contact with that's got resources that I need access to? That's what you have to do. I think I give you this, young people. Understand you're going to be old if you are lucky enough to live, right? So you're going to get to a place where you're no longer young anymore. You're going to be someone's grandparent, great grandparent. That's what we all hope you are. So the things that you do today will have an impact in the future. So you have to, start taking accountability for your actions now. I'm telling you this because it's important, because I see it all day long on social media for people that I know. I've got grandmothers that are strippers. Okay. You're a grandmother. You should not be in a position that you're stripping, showing your body and things of that nature, right? Yeah, it's cute when you're young, but I mean, we have grandmothers that are no longer grandmothers. We have grandfathers that are no longer grandfathers, not even in their child's life no more, for whatever the reason may be, right? That's a terrible thing, and we can't do that. We need to have the grandparents. See, your grandmothers and your grandfathers back in the day, I guess we were fortunate because we had those, but these young kids coming up, they're not going to have grandmothers like we used to. Now, grandma and granddad, they knew how to manage money. They were good stewards of money. They didn't have a PhD, a master's degree. None of that stuff mattered. You got broke PhD people, right? Robert Kiyosaki talk about it all the time with his rich dad and his poor dad, right? His poor dad, had a PhD. His rich dad was a high school dropout who's a multimillionaire, right? So he learned from that. You get the wisdom from your grandparents. We need that old wisdom back. We don't have the wisdom anymore, right? A lot of the young people now that are procreating are going to be old, ignorant grandparents that can't add no value to their kids' life because they're going to be broke, ugly, and tired because they're partying too much, drugging too much, and they listen to all this demonic music all the time. Listen, you got to start making a change now. You got to be the change that you want, right? The change that you want your kids to be, you must lead by example, right? So the transformation starts with you. Then it trickles down to your family. Like I said, your grandparents, they were good managers of money. So be a good steward with money. It's a lot that you can do when you have. So don't worry about what you don't have, right? Don't worry about the $2 billion that Kanye lost in one day, right? Because he still said he got, a couple of hundreds of millions. He good. Don't worry about what he has. Worry about what you have and be a good steward of what you have, right? People talk about, oh man, Trump, he inherited $1 million. He came from money. So but you got to understand, because you inherited the money don't mean you are going to keep the money, right? We just talked about people that win the lottery. Over 70% of them go back broke. Somebody can just drop $200 million in your account right now. You'll be broke in a year. You see it happening all the time because, again, you don't have the mindset. You're not a good steward, with the small things. You want God to bless you with the big things, but you're not a good manager of the small things. How you expect the God to bless you with the big things if you can't be a good steward of the small things that you do have? Being a good steward means, monitor and watch your expenses, right? What you bring in, your paychecks, or however you generating your money, you need to have that revenue coming in, and your expenses cannot exceed your revenue. Your expenses must be lower. That means you can't spend what you don't have. That's what grandma and them had. They didn't have credit cards and all that stuff, right? They were saving money before credit cards was even out here in the 70s, right? So how were they able to go and build and buy their homes and things that they had? They were good stewards of money, no PhD, no master's degree. I know y'all are enamored, like I talked about earlier, about people with these titles. That's an appeal to authority fallacy. Forget the title. You had to know what you know, or you don't know what you know. And grandma and granddad, we're going to listen. I'm going to be a grandma and a granddad one day. Joe, you are. Brother Ya is. And so again, the future.
I'm gonna just be a granddad.
You're gonna be
I'm not gonna be a grandma.
You're gonna be a granddad. You're right. But just my message to my people today. Listen, young people, you're going to be that someday in your life. Start making a change now, right? Stop hanging out and doing all this other crap with your time. What are you doing with your time? We all got 24 hours in a day. Nobody got 25. Everybody got 24. And the only difference is what you're doing with your time. It's what you do.
That's the piece right there.
I'm gonna leave with this, man. I had this kid in India when I was doing TensorFlow training, which is artificial intelligence. I just completed my data science certification, and a lot of Indians is in this space, right? And they're not no smarter than you. I promise you, they're not no smarter than you. A lot of times they are extra dinky. Okay, they don't get a lot of things, right? But their culture understands that this is where the money is at, and so guess what? They are all flooding into this space. And so I meet a lot of these people. So this Indian guy, he's in, he was getting his master's degree. He actually asked me to do an artificial intelligence program to learn artificial intelligence. And I was like, no, I don't think I can do it, man. I'm just, not too comfortable with all the math. He's like, oh, no, don't worry. I'm going to teach you. And he kept pressing me, and I was making up every excuse to get out of training with this Indian kid, right? And so I looked at it, I was like, if this guy really, I was like, listen, bro, like I'm in America, you're in India. Right. And so I'm not going to have no free time until 8 o'clock at night. He said, oh, that's going to be like 4 o'clock my time in the morning. He said, OK, I'll get up and do it. I said, bro, hold on. You're going to get up 4 o'clock in the morning to train with me? He said, yes. I said, if you're going to go that hard for me, bro, listen, I can't turn you down. So I learned TensorFlow, artificial intelligence writing because the Indian kid pressed me. And the thing was interesting about the Indian kid is, we're on the WhatsApp and we're, FaceTime and whatever each other. And as I go about my life, showing them where I live and stuff like that, showing them my supermarkets, we got TVs and all this stuff. And he shows me where he lives. This guy and his roommates have no furniture in their little apartment, no furniture. He has a picnic blanket on the floor, a computer, and some earbuds. That's it. He showed me their local grocery store, and it looked like a little pantry. It's smaller than a pantry in your house. That's the little grocery store they have in the local spot. Doesn't have a car. They ride bicycles, right? We're talking about poverty. Our poverty, y'all got big screen TVs, you got the latest cell phones, you got $200-300 Yeezys and Michael Jordans on your feet, you got air conditioning, Okay, and you're running around talking about you poor. No, you're not poor. Like Brother Yah say, it's your mindset that's poor. And we're here to add value to that mindset, to show you that there's a different way. You don't have to sell drugs, young brother. You don't have to go play basketball to play football. There's other ways that you can actually get this money. In fact, most of the people who get the money don't play basketball or play football. I can guarantee you that, right? You want to learn, come here, listen to the Tipping Point Morning Show every Saturday. Come listen to this. You can visit me at wallstreetjackboys.com. That's my website. I'm there daily. You can engage with me on Facebook. We love to engage in these, type of topics. Surround yourself with the change that you want to be.
Absolutely, man. Nothing but good information today. And I got to shout out, again, as a licensed life insurance agent, licensed about 20 different states, justaskjoe.net. All right. You can click the financial tab there and you can actually set a meeting with me for free and we can talk because tax time is coming. All right. And I'm going to tell you, there's something really easy. You're dealing with credit issues, something really easy you can do. You can sit there, you're going to get 5-10 grand back, take, $5 grand, a couple thousand, whatever. Go buy a single premium whole life policy. Right? Take it to the bank and you can make them a beneficiary and then you can actually use that to borrow against. All right. And then you pay that money back. All right. Because you're going to get that lump sum for tax time. All right. But as you do that, you're going to build your credit at the same time and you're building a relationship with the bank. All right. To be able to borrow more money. So there's plenty of ways to do this. We've had plenty of opportunities. All of us can sit there and say that. And we know that. So just remember, folks, there's people out here. You want that information. You got it right here. You see 3 brothers that's giving it and they don't mind talking about it. So, just reach out. The Tipping Point radio show on Facebook. You can hit us up on every streaming site as well. Carry us in your pocket. Listen to the first segments of the shows if you want, just to get that financial information if you want. But hit us up. Spotify. We're everywhere. What else? Spotify. Google Podcasts. You've got Anchor. You've got where else? Shoot, I know I probably got it written down right here in the bottom here, but check us out on YouTube. Like I said, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. So check us out there, folks. Instagram, we're live right now and pretty much live every Saturday as well. So, you got no excuse. Appreciate you, brothers, for coming on. This has been a spectacular show. Another one for the books. And definitely got to chop this up and put some of these shorts out there. So
hey, let me add one more thing real quick. If you want to stop black on black crime or black people getting killed by police officers, take insurance out on them. Yeah. Take insurance out on your kids, your boys, and they'll get tired of getting you rich. Yep. If everybody had insurance, if every child had insurance running these streets, you got your son out here running these streets, put some insurance on his ass. Right? If everybody start doing that, everybody will start coming up real quick. And that sounds kind of funny, sounds kind of odd, but if you did that, I believe the killings will stop. Yeah. My view.
Yeah, because the insurance companies got lobbyists. You know what I mean? And so they would sit there and be like, look, we paying out too much money. They're going to get their lobbyists over to the police, FOPs and all that stuff. So, I absolutely believe that right then and there as a truth. It's amazing. You've said it before, Pierre. Master P and his 30 different businesses. We know the story of Master P and how his grandfather left him a $10,000 policy, right? And look at where he is now, 30 different businesses or more. And it started with a $10,000 policy. So we'll look up to Master P and admire him and his businesses and how he's come from rap and everything else, but not look at the basic thing of how he started and do that for ourselves, for our next generation of family. A $10,000 policy.
But getting it is one part of it. Managing is the second part of it.
Absolutely.
So just because someone inherited 10,000 doesn't mean he's going to be rich. He was a good steward of his resources. Like I say, people say Trump was a dummy. You don't go from $1 million loan from your dad to $4 billion with being a dummy. He knows something. You need to figure out what it is that he knows.
Exactly. So, good stuff, good conversation, man. I know we could keep going if we wanted to. I got to get off here. I got to be somewhere at 11:30. Family, love y'all, brothers. Appreciate it. And until next week, folks, again, it's been another fantastic episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Peace.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Young. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.